In this video, I will be talking about chromosomes and the different levels of chromosomes. More specifically, eukaryotic chromosome. So chromosomes consist of DNA and histones. And what histones are proteins, essentially, that DNA wraps around. And so 40% is DNA, and then 60% is histones. And histones are crucial for condensation of DNA. And so what happens is, imagine that's a histone, and we'll use DNA in red. The DNA essentially just wraps around and around the histone and essentially just saves room. And there are 4 types of histones. But I don't think anyone will ever really need to know the names, so I won't get into that. And so let's get into the different levels of chromosomes and DNA. So let me clear this. And so now this is a good diagram. So essentially, the first level up here is just DNA. The second level here are DNA wrapped around histones. And so what that's actually called, so it's called a nucleosome. And that's 8 histones plus DNA is a nucleosome. And then now we get into chromatin, and then that's more chromatin there, and then finally chromosomes. And so you might ask, what's the difference between chromatin and chromosomes? So chromatin is essentially loose, uncondensed DNA, or plus histones. And chromosomes are condensed. And you rarely see chromosomes except for in metaphase of mitosis and meiosis. But most of the time you need loose, uncondensed DNA, so proteins have access to the genetic information, so the genetic information can be copied. Because when it's all condensed, we'll explain how DNA is made into RNA, but when it's condensed into a chromosome, you can't really make a copy of the genetic information. And so now let me clear this. And so it's important to remember that every species has different chromosome numbers. And that means the amount of chromosomes, the number of chromosomes we have. So we have 46, and the number of chromosomes does not necessarily determine how smart or how well developed something is. So we have 46 for and then, for example, chimps have 48, and then goldfish actually have 94. So as you can see, the chromosome number does not determine how well developed an organism is. And so let's talk a little more about chromosomes and how they relate to us. So most organisms are diploid, meaning they have 2N chromosomes, which means essentially that one chromosome comes from each parent. And so we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. And so these pairs are called homologs. Homologous chromosomes, same thing. And what that means is they code for the same trait, but may not be the same. So, for example, your first pair, remember, one from your mom, one from your dad, the first pair may code for eye color, for example. But one of the pair can code for blue eye color, while the other one can code for green eye color or something. So they code for the same traits, but one is going to be dominant over the other. And so pairs 1 to 22 are called autosomes, which means they express the body traits. And then 23 is the sex chromosome, which determines the sex. But the pair 23, especially in males, males are XY, they're not truly homologous, but these two pairs behave like homologs because the X and Y chromosomes don't code for the same traits. And so something that's really cool is, let me clear this for a second, males determine the sex of the baby. Because females have two X chromosomes, males have an X and a Y, so males can donate either an X or a Y. Females can only donate an X, doesn't matter which one. So if you ever blame, if the father ever blames the mother for not giving him a child, it's actually his fault for not donating the Y chromosome. And then a cool way to actually see all of the chromosomes is called a karyotype. And essentially what it does is it takes all of the chromosomes when they're condensed and lined up during metaphase or something, and it just takes a picture of all of them and then puts them on a sheet. So it'll have like pretty much, they are of different lengths. They're actually organized from tallest to shortest, and then 23 is the sex chromosome. And so you essentially just see 23 pairs on a piece of paper or whatever they put it on.